Hi guys!
Hi.
Are you ready for a slightly spooky story?
Yeah.
Are you ready, Sky?
Yeah.
Are you ready, Manya?
Yeah. Oh.
Well, this story's a wee bit spooky. It's about a ghost, but it's funny too. So if you think you might be a wee bit spooked by it, make sure you're sitting with mum or dad or someone else in the house. Or if you don't like spooky stories, then don't watch it. We've got plenty of others coming. Okay? So this is a story about a ghost. I heard this story at the Scottish Storytelling Centre at Halloween time, and I really liked it. I couldn't get the name of the storyteller, but she was really good. But I listened to the story and I liked it, and I changed it a little bit to suit the way I tell stories. And so I've called this story Room Number 13. There's a hotel not so far where I'm sitting, and it's very popular. Rooms are normally full. It's by the beach and it's a golf course nearby. But there's one room in the hotel that is almost always empty. No one really wants to stay there because it said it is haunted. It's room number 13. Well, one dark, stormy night, a businessman arrived. He was running late and he was looking for somewhere to stay. And he went up to the receptionist and says, "Have you got a room? Have you got a room? I'd like to stay the night." And the receptionist said, "I'm sorry, sir, we're very, very busy, but we do have just one room available." "Oh, I'll take it. Sir, before you make a decision, I need to let you know it's room number 13. "That's fine, I'm not superstitious. You're not from around here," she said. "I need to let you know that people say room number 13 is haunted." As I say, I'm not superstitious. I don't believe in ghosts. That will be fine. I'll take that room. And so she gives him the key for room number 13. And he counts the doors. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Puts the key in, opens the door. Oh, lovely room, en suite and everything. So he very quickly gets ready for bed, has a shower, brushes his teeth, puts his pyjamas on, into his bed, switches off the light, pulls the covers up, and he thinks, lovely, this is so comfortable. I'm going to get a good night's sleep. He was just about asleep when suddenly he heard a knocking. "Oh, there must be someone at the door," he thought to himself. "Who's at the door at this time?" So he switched on the light and he got out of bed and he went to the door and he opened the door and there was nobody there. "Ah," he thought, "it's the central heating making that noise." He closed the door, went back to bed, switched off the light, pulled up the covers, and was almost asleep again when he switched on the light, looked around, and he thought, wait a minute, it's coming from the window. So he walked to the window and he took the curtains. Very carefully, he opened the curtains. But he was 4 floors up. How could anybody be knocking on the window 4 floors up? And then he saw it. It was raining and there was a drain pipe dripping. That must be what the noise is, he thought. So he fastened the window to make sure no noise could get in, closed the curtains, went back to bed, switched off the light, pulled up his blanket. Finally, he said, I can get some sleep. And he was almost at the point of sleeping when it happened again. I'm going to ignore it. I'm going to ignore it. going to ignore it. Then he heard, whoa! I can't ignore that, he thought. He switched on the light and he looked around, and the noise happened again, and he realised where it was coming from. The cupboard. Whoa! So I can't sleep with that noise. So he very carefully goes to the cupboard and he puts one hand on one handle and another hand on the other handle, and then starts to open the cupboard door. And out comes the ghost. And the businessman, looking at the ghost, went, ah! And ran all the way down the stairs, still in his pyjamas, straight into the car, and he drove off. Well, he sent the hotel an email asking for his stuff to be sent on to him, and said he wasn't going back to that hotel because room number 13 is most definitely haunted. Well, a few weeks later, it was another dark, stormy night, and this time the head teacher of a school who'd been at an educational conference arrived. Now, she was running late, and so she wanted to stay over, and she said, have you got a room? I need to be up really early tomorrow to prepare for the conference, and I really need a room. And the receptionist said, well, it's been very busy, but we do have one room available. I'll take it, said the head teacher. Before you take it, said the receptionist, I need to let you know it's room number 13. Yes, well, I'll take it. The receptionist says, well, what you need to know is that room number 13, well, it's haunted. Haunted? Said the head teacher. Haunted? You mean by a ghost? Yes, said the receptionist. A few weeks ago we had a businessman and, well, it scared him completely. He ran out the hotel. I'm a head teacher of a primary school, said the head teacher. I deal with things that are scary every day. Nothing scares me. I'll take the room. And so the receptionist gave her the keys. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. She put the key in and she opened the door. What a lovely room. So comfortable. So very quickly she went into the toilet and she had a shower and brushed her teeth, and she put her head teacher's nightie on and she went into the bed. Oh, lovely comfortable bed. And she turned off the light and she pulled up the blankets. Just about fell asleep. Oh, there's somebody at the door. You know what? If that's a naughty child or someone who's trying to disturb me, I will be very angry. And she gets out of the bed, opens the door, and there's nobody there. Ah, she thinks, it must be the central heating. She closes the door, gets back to bed, switches the light off, pulls up her covers, very quickly, almost falls asleep, when guess what? Oh, she switches the light on, looks around and thinks it's coming from the window. So she gets out of bed, goes to the window, holds the curtains and pulls open the curtains. She realises she's 4 floors up. No one could be knocking at the window 4 floors up. But like before, it was a rainy day, and of course the dripping drain, and she thinks it must be the drain. She makes sure the window is fastened carefully, and she closes the curtains, goes back to bed, switches off the light, pulls up her blankets, and she says, please now, let's get to sleep. I've got to be up early tomorrow morning for this conference. I'm going to ignore it. going to ignore it. I'm going to ignore it. Ooh. I can't ignore that. She switches on the light. And then she realises it's coming from the cupboard. She goes to the cupboard. She puts one hand on one handle, another hand on the other handle. And very carefully she opens the cupboard door. And out comes the ghost. And the head teacher, when she sees a ghost coming out the cupboard, she goes, ah! And she runs all the way down the stairs, still in her head teacher's nightie, and gets in the car and drives away. Later, she sent an email to the hotel saying she didn't want to stay in that hotel again, and could she have her stuff back. Well, a few weeks after this, on a really dark and stormy night, a family turned up. It was a mum and a dad and a child. Now you can decide in your imagination if this child was a boy or a girl. And they were desperate for a room because they were so late. And when they went to the hotel receptionist, they said, "Have you got a room?" Can you guess which room was the only room available?
Room number 13.
Yes, room number 13. "Well, take that," said the mum and dad. Excuse me, but I need to tell you some important information about this room. It's haunted." "Haunted?" said the dad. "Oh dear, maybe not then." "Haunted?" said the mum. "Oh dear, maybe not then." "Haunted?" said the child. Cool. So the child looked up at the parents and said, please, Dad, please, Mum, can we stay in the room? Can we stay in the room? Please, please." And so the mum and the dad, who were desperate to have a place to stay, said, very well, we'll stay in the room, but we need to get a good night's sleep." And so off they went, room number 13, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Put the key in the door and opened the door. Oh, it was a lovely room, and the hotel had made a nice little bed for the child, and there was the big bed for the mum and dad, and they very quickly got ready for bed. They had their showers and they brushed their teeth and put their pyjamas on and went to bed, and the mum and dad said, "Now, no nonsense, straight to sleep, we'll have to be up early tomorrow morning." And so they switched the lights off. Now, there's a slight problem you have if you are sleeping in the same room as your parents. Do you know what that problem is? Snoring. As soon as the mum fell asleep. And the child thought, "Oh, right, I better fall asleep before Dad does, because then I'll never get to sleep, because he snores like a rhinoceros." Too late. The dad then fell asleep. What with the dad going, and the mum going, the child was thinking, "I'm never going to get to sleep here," but the child did her or his best to try and fall asleep. But just then, the child heard a knocking sound. And so he or she went up to the dad. "Dad! Dad! Dad! What is it? Why did you wake me up? I was in a nice dream. Oh, Dad, there's someone knocking at the door. Oh, who's knocking at the door at this time?" And so he goes to the door and he opens the door, and of course there's nobody there. "Oh, there's nobody there," he said, and he closes the door. "It's the central heating making a noise. Now get to sleep. If you wake me up again, there'll be trouble." "Okay, Dad." So the dad goes back to bed and the child goes into his or her bed. The light switched off. Very quickly the dad falls back to sleep. And the mum's still sleeping. But then the knocking. Well, this time the child switches the light on and goes, "Oh, I can't wake up Dad. He said there would be trouble. I'll wake up Mum instead." And so the child goes to the mum and goes, "Mum! Mum! Mum! What is it?" And she had one of these, these things round her. She, I was in a nice dream. Why did you wake me up? She said, Mum, I think there's someone knocking at the window. Knocking at the window? Really? And she gets out of bed and she opens the curtains and she has a look and she says, "Look, we're 4 floors up. How can anyone be knocking at the window? Look, it's a drain pipe. It's dripping because it's raining. Now get to bed and get to sleep and don't wake me up again or there'll be trouble." Okay. So the mum goes back into bed and very quickly she's fast asleep. And so is the dad. And the child thinks, "I'm never going to get to sleep, but I'm going to try." And so he or she closes his or her eyes.
I'm gonna ignore it.
I'm gonna ignore it.
And then, whoa!
I can't ignore that.
I can't ignore that.
I can't ignore that. Then the child looks at the dad. "I can't wake up Dad. He said there would be trouble if I wake him up again." Then the child looks at the mum and thinks, I can't wake up Mum. She said there would be trouble if I wake her up again." And then the noise came from the cupboard. Whoa! And the child thinks, "Well, I can't sleep with that noise going on." And so the child gets out of bed and carefully goes up to the cupboard, puts one hand on one handle and one hand on the other handle, and very carefully opens the cupboard door. Out comes the ghost. The child just looks at the ghost, unfolds his or her arms, and wags his or her finger. "Stop making such a ridiculous noise and stop trying to scare people. If you keep on making that ridiculous noise, you're going to wake up my mum and my dad. And if you do, there'll be trouble." Well, the ghost looked at the mum and dad, sleeping, looked at the child, and went, and ran out of the room, all the way down the stairs and out of the hotel. "Finally," said the child, "maybe now I can get some sleep." Closed the cupboard door, went back to bed, switched off the light, pulled up the blankets, and despite his mum and dad snoring, eventually managed to get some sleep. After that, room number 13 in this hotel was no longer haunted. The ghost had gone. But it ran to another hotel and hid in a cupboard in a room in that hotel. What's the name of that hotel? I don't know. find out. Or maybe you will, if you have to stay in that hotel on a dark, stormy night. Well, that was my story, Room 13, and it's quite a long story, but it's quite easy to remember because it's got a repetitive structure. You probably noticed that it repeats itself. Now this is quite common. There's lots of stories that have this kind of structure that repeats itself 3 times. Think of traditional tales like Goldilocks and the Three Bears, and another story like The Three Little Pigs. It repeats. But to make it more interesting, what you can do within the repeat is have different details in it. Characters behave in different ways, like the businessman and the head teacher and the snoring parents. So that's your story now. If you want it, you can tell it. That can be your ghost story that you can tell sometime. You never know when you might need to have a ghost story up your sleeve to tell it. And so I'll say bye-bye just now. What about the kids here? Did you think it was scary or funny or a bit of both? Too scary, too funny? What did you think? Was it more scary than funny or more funny than scary?
More funny than scary.
More funny than scary. Well, I think that's the way I would have liked it. Till next time, bye!
Bye.
Bye!